parks programming that goes on, whether it's in the spring or the fall or the summer, they would put together a little booklet or flyer consisting of several pages, and it would tell you about all and all the programming, whether it's after it's Gus and Goldie swimming or etc., tennis lessons, guitar, and the kids would receive it at their schools, I think. And then of course, if you go to the library, you'd see them there. If you go to the DRC in South Pharr, they have them stacked there. But how many people actually?
So I don't see it anywhere in print. I get it online.
I'm not sure if that is still in print, not issued anymore. Okay, so now it's just online. Okay, now it's just online. It used to be in print. So again, everything's online.
And
Yeah.
we do have signs on the street that say, Hub Fest,
Yes.
the dates.
Yes. So yeah.
So I don't know if there could be a report just so we have the information as in order to advise or maybe even come up with ideas. But as far as like the 311 app, how many people actually download and use it when it comes to Facebook and some of those other things, how many people are utilizing that? What other ways is there of getting information? Like I saw that you guys did have one of those where everybody comes out and drops their garbage, but I got it after the fact. And so I'm looking, but I need to get the 311 app, but I'm still struggling. And I try to make sure other people know. So I just don't know how prevalent that is.
Again, for me, it's just been social media. It's liking what the City of Pharr, Fire Department, Police Department, Parks and Rec. I mean, just liking the library, just liking all the different departments that have a site, and then checking them every day. And if there's a way to make them your favorite, I think there is on Facebook. I'm not sure on Instagram. I haven't figured that out yet. But I just make it a point. I ignore everything else, and I just try to, okay, what did the city post? What did this, what did they post? What did they post? And because really,
a question I have. So Hannah, when you communicate your events and stuff, what do? Do you communicate to the schools directly? Do you utilize city communications?
It depends on the type of event, but I generally go through our media team. I put in a request. There's usually a 2-week turnover time.
Yeah.
They'll create a flyer and then they post it based on when it needs to be added.
Because I think one thing we can do, and you can utilize, I mean, I know there's different agencies such as Constant Contact and stuff like that. I don't know what the city uses, but we can have sort of like a information, sign up for, if you'd like to know about cleanups in your neighborhood, if you'd like to know about projects for your kids and stuff like that. And that way they can send a lot of people like text messages, where they get automatically, like the phones just went off. You get a text message and it'll say, hey, coming up in 2 weeks, we've got, Gus and Goldie here, or we've got trash cleanup, or we've got this for you. Maybe some kind of a simple service like that. But also we could have like our logo come out on that. And that way they know, oh, it's a Keep Pharr Beautiful program. Maybe that's something we can try along with the city and say, you know what, let's try it as a pilot program and see if it is a good way for the city to communicate. We'd like to try this as our way of trying stuff out. So let's try our trash pickups and stuff, sending them through a certain way of going out through our residents by using sorry for the microphone. The guy's probably going to hit me over the head for having hit the microphone. But like maybe let's try it on a pilot program. Let's see if that works for us. And if the city likes the way these projects are working, and then they see that there is interest from our residents, then maybe they'll incorporate it for other projects ahead. But this would be one way to get our logo and say, hey, we're having a trash pickup this month. Or did you know we're having this service at one of the parks? So maybe tie it into our events, into our logo. The other thing that's simple, talking about our logo, we have our meeting here is publicized. I mean, it comes out at the open. We could have our logo in the opening of this meeting. That's something that the graphics and the TV department can easily fix together.
With the Pharr 311 app, so I get ping, 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 and I have to like search for what's pinging me. Is there a way of doing text messages like through the Pharr app? Like if people want to receive alerts on their phone? Okay.
Yeah. I know I signed up for that Code Red that we just got.
But that's for
Emergencies, right.
Code Red just came out.
So maybe we should come out with a Code Green for us for anything we want to do. And then we can do our projects, let's call it Code Green.
That
Make sure it's green.
People were talking about analytics and like who's using certain things.
Yeah.
And then our IT team runs and operates the 311 app because it's not just like social very involved.
Yeah, it's two different
Yes,
aspects, two
this
different
is
people.
More administrative and issues and answering a lot of questions like where do I go pay my water bill or where.
Yeah,
So this is not for events, because I think I've
No,
reported on it.
This is,
So this is not really for upcoming events.
not that I've seen.
this is more administrative.
Yeah.
So,
That's more like if you want to contact the city.
Fine.
Ask them-
Work orders, yeah.
okay.
It'll tell you, administration departments, how to contact them. If you want a place, like one time I was driving down Cage and there was a big sign on one of the buildings way up high. It looked like it could fall onto the sidewalk and maybe hurt someone. All I did is type it in. There's a section for that concern. And you know what? Within an hour, I got a response that they were looking into it. And then I got a response later that it had been taken care of. And
Yeah.
it's
There is
fine.
there is a
They will-
calendar, so they do have a calendar of events in there.
Mhm.
So then
Okay.
you can see
So
that.
that's my question. So if you're a Pharr resident and you want to know, not just Parks and Rec, because Parks and Rec, I go, you can go to the brochure, but just like all the upcoming events, if there's the Hub Fest or anything else happening, or the recycling events, is there a place that Pharr residents can go to find that? Is there like
Yeah.
a big calendar?
It's right on the app.
It
So
is
on
on
the
the
app, they have,
Okay.
you go under news, it tells you where all the stuff is, like sandbag being distributed here, provide information for storm fence and, commerce, the mayor's commerce to host the mayor's prayer. So that's all under the news section. So if you click there,
So maybe that's what we.
And then there's also
that's
the
one more
calendar.
place to put
Yeah.
things.
so there is also a calendar in there. And I'm sure there's got to be a place where you can sign up. There's also their TV and social media, and it's got all of them. It's got the Facebook. Police has their own Facebook, Pharr Live TV. The library has their own Facebook page. There's Twitter, Pharr Aquatics, Instagram, YouTube. So they do have it on there.
I mean, I need to obviously explore on my own, but is there a way we could have a presentation about the Pharr 311 app?
I can't see that.
Requested. So we're just jotting down some questions that are coming up. And the FAR 311, my understanding is it is an IT application. And so I'll get back with the IT department to see if they can provide something to us for next time so that we can be better informed. But yeah, certainly we can do that.
That would be really cool. And if we could because I know we have 3 different departments that come together here. We have parks, we have code, and we have public works. And they all are having different programming. And if it's all in one little place, how convenient for the citizens. Right? So, okay,
Okay.
that sounds good. So thank you, Ms. Castro. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Marble Hannah, for that information too. And Mr. Weiss for that. Anybody else have anything to add in this section to C?
Well, besides the
Yes.
logo being on flyers, which I think is important. So I'm assuming that anything related to beautification of the city should have the logo.
Everything.
But I don't know if Keep Pharr Beautiful needs to have a banner that gets put at events, or whether a standing banner or a hanging banner, or if I don't know if the board has money or if the city has the money allocated, that there's some people like free stuff in the valley. So if there's freebies or things like that that have that logo, if we're trying to get the logo out and for people to recognize it. Now the question is, once they see it,
Then
what does it mean to them? Do they go to a website? Is there a Facebook page? Like, are they going back to the city? So I feel like if you're going to do any marketing, it also has to lead somewhere back.
So in the past, I had approached, but it was the past. I had approached about us having our own site, like a department has, or But I got the impression that we couldn't just yet. There was too many other things that were going on. But I think we need to readdress that, because then if we had a site or like us on Facebook, okay, so then you like us on Facebook and then what?
Right.
You know?
So I mean, whether we're tied in this, I just feel like it needs to go somewhere.
Tie
So
back,
if there's like maybe on the 311 app, there was Keep Pharr Beautiful, and then all the events related to keeping Pharr Beautiful
Mhm.
in there.
Mhm.
But yeah, I
Something,
guess that's something
some way
we
to
need
tie
figure out.
everything back. Yeah, very good, very good, very good. I'm gonna write that down. Tie it back to something. So,
I mean, if, you know, I made this for later, but the other thing I can think of is, um, right now we've had lots of rain, which is great for our plants, but it's also great for the weeds. So it's really hard for homeowners. Everybody's struggling right now to keep grass mowed, and, you know, and then we've got all this invasive Bermuda grass. And one of the things I'd love to see this fall, and Hannah's doing a lot for the public grounds, but for city residents to adapt native vegetation, to take over the grasses. And maybe there's a way that we could talk about something and we could use our logo to certify yards, or do it in conjunction with, Hannah, help me remember, is it National Wildlife Federation that does the certification of yards?
And they put a little.
Yeah, and maybe,
sign.
and maybe we could do something conjunction or something like that. And then, you know, and so the logo could be used in ways that remind people to keep our city beautiful.
Very good.
One of the action items for the mayor's monarch pledge is to host a native plant sale or swap. So that's something that we can definitely discuss about creating an event around that and utilizing you guys
That'd be awesome.
as a resource for that.
And is there a particular date for that?
No, there's not a date for it, but I think the best time of the year would either be early fall or late summer.
Yeah.
Because the best time to plant is late fall, early winter. So,
Yeah.
And so that, and you said the mayor has to have a, what is it?
There's bullet points you need that the pledge has to meet.
Yeah, it's a proclamation that we've been doing for the past, I believe, 3 years or so.
Uh-huh.
And in order to maintain that proclamation, you have to meet a certain number of action items. And so this year we've increased the number of action items so that way we can be at a higher recognition under the Wildlife Federation. So we choose the action items that we want to pursue, and I made those decisions, and one of them is a native plant swap or sale. So we have to do those
Native
action
plant
items.
swap or
Mhm.
sale.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the year, I fill out and it's kind of like an application, a form with everything that we did to meet those action items. And then they approve us as a city that has taken the mayor's monarch pledge for the previous year.
So Hannah, Keith the Mazatlan does their huge monarch event, and they've got native plant sales that they're doing in there. And then they have, I'm assuming they're hitting a lot of those action items within that one event. Is the city of Pharr considering doing something that large of a scale, or are they looking more for like individual events and activities that meet all these things?
I think it would be more individualized.
Okay.
Especially because seasonally, the time of the year that like Callan does that kind of thing is a time of year when the city of Pharr is doing a lot of other events that they've done years past. So we don't really want to change that up too much.
Gotcha.
So a lot of other smaller events would be great. But I think that could be a really good opportunity to have some kind of social media campaign about native plants, include the logo, kill two birds with one stone, and also have some kind of like native plant sale or swap.
Yeah. Maybe have like an umbrella event where not necessarily all of your, but maybe we can have like some sort of an umbrella event where we have like maybe hit 4 or 5 of your categories, and we can hit them in one event in 4 or 5 different ones. Like some sort of an umbrella event that we can do. Like I like the idea of, I think it's the food bank that had this, and I saw it, and I thought of us, the first thing I saw. They were passing out cards, or they were passing out seeds, but it had their business card on it. So yeah, but what we could do, they can also now like make business cards and cards like coasters almost, but the paper has seeds in it. And then we put our logo on it. And so we're passing out our card and seeds at the same time that could be of native plants. And then they can grow it, and we can see them growing in their homes.
Have you selected a date for this, or is it still under consideration? So I don't know if this is something that we can assist with, or if you want assistance, too many cooks sometimes, but there's a couple of questions I have. Is one, does it include seeds? And 2, okay, can we invite other growers to be a part of it who are growing things? If so, what maybe we could do is a seed and plant swap. And if it's in this fall, if we let people know now, that gives everybody time to collect and grow plants in order to have them there and establish. You have different kinds of vendors. You have people who grow in their own backyard, and you've got people who actually have a business. So I don't know if you want to make levels, but you could charge a fee, you know, raise some money for something, like maybe something small or something big. I mean, I don't know, or we could just do swaps and just nobody sells and everybody just swaps and they swap seeds and plants. But I think people need at least 3 months, and there's a lot of plant groups on Facebook, and I'm assuming Instagram and everywhere else, that if we notify them now, they can start preparing for it. It's just a suggestion.
So I understand what Hannah's talking about is that the city has certain big events already that they have throughout the year that they block for. So it's just a matter of sitting down and getting, I guess, the main calendar that they work off of and seeing realistically where would it fall based of obviously the growing season, the planting season. But, to really come down with a logical timeframe.
But I'm just thinking, I love the idea, Hannah, and I think it's great, and whatever way we can
Yeah.
support. But the master gardeners have that big annual plant sale. How much lead time do they have in order to prepare for it
They prepare all year long.
So, yeah, but I'm,
Not diligently and strong on a specific land,
But there's
but
coming up.
throughout the year, several individual master gardeners are growing plants at their home. So at a certain time of the year, because they have to sell twice a year, the fall and spring. So they bring them over to the sale venue.
that's probably another calendar to look at, so we don't conflict with that plant sale. But I love the swap, because I don't know of any swaps out here, and that's an opportunity that no one else is doing. So that would be a lot of fun.
It may be also a way to get around I don't know how the city would feel about people selling things. Because is there permitting involved, like
I don't
vendors coming in? Well, yeah, anyway, a lot to think about. But we'll come back to the next meeting with more info for y'all. Anybody else? Do you have anything to add? Any more discussion?
Well, I think once we get the calendar and stuff, we can see if a year from now we want to plan our own festival or our own event or something like that. So we can start maybe brainstorming.
Use the master calendar and work off of it and say, okay, there's a gap here, there's a gap there.
Is this the time to introduce the events, or is that the next? Is this the time to talk about other possible events, or?
You can do it.
Okay, so I have this other idea, and again, since I'm new on the board, I didn't exactly know how it worked, and if we helped coordinate events in hand with the city, not relying on them to do all the work, but we actually took some of it ourselves. And one of the ideas as a parent that I've had is the same thing as a swap, but I love the plant swap idea. I think that would be fantastic. But I also know there's a lot of parents like me who have a house full of junk and somebody else may want to use it. And most of the time we just donate it. But I was thinking that if we could coordinate a swap that is a green swap that focuses on getting kids outdoors or beautifying our yard, and it could be stuff for our yard, patio or play equipment, or outdoor clothes for kids to get dirty. If that's something that we could help coordinate, and maybe do it in conjunction with, there's all sorts of like special days, like get kids out, get to the parks, or it fall's really busy because it's the best time to be outside, but something in the fall, maybe even back to school in preparation because people have uniforms, maybe we could incorporate that. But the idea is to keep things out of the landfill, and if we could involve our partners, with recycling, with the Parks and Rec, with the Day Plants, and then have other organizations in our community come and present. There's Girl Scouts who are probably going to be recruiting, Boy Scouts who are going to be recruiting. So if we could do a community event, but have it a swap, have things for people, families to do, learn about the city, learn about the resources, not at the level of Hub Fest, but something a little bit smaller. I didn't know if that's something that we could do.
Hannah is gonna bring up, when she comes up, she's gonna discuss a program that she's got going at the end of the month at the park. And I can see this idea maybe next year planning it, but she's gonna share with us a program that she's gonna have. But it's a great idea. This way we keep our things out of the landfill. Everyone's got an extra, maybe the kiddie pool that isn't going to be used anymore, the little toddler swing that, oh my gosh, it's the little Tykes toddler swing. Do I just
Sand
throw it in the
tables.
trash or what?
Yeah.
sand buckets, things to play with sand. I mean, we've all like, what do I do with this outdoor thing?
Right.
That the kids no longer are interested in. What do I do with it? And it's great. A swap would be an awesome thing to do. And it's a great teaching point also to avoid putting it in the landfill, getting it reused by a community, by someone in your local community. A lot of people aren't going to haul it over to Salvation Army, like, or Goodwill, right?
Mhm.
It's easier for them to put it outside in the
That's
corner, in the alley.
Yeah. So that's, yeah. So I'd love to hear what you're doing and maybe.
She's going to share with us, and when she comes forward, there's a great program that's coming up. She introduced it last night at the board meeting, the commissioners meeting. But all wonderful ideas, and yes.
Excuse me,
Yes.
if we can speak into the mic.
Oh,
there has been-
Sorry. I pulled back so that way
Yes.
okay, sorry about that. All right. Okay. Any further discussion on this item?
Mm-mm.
Okay, we're going to move on. But before we go, I do want to just assure the board that we'll come back for next meeting and bring more information for you. Perhaps we'll have the calendar, the general calendar that the city works off of. And that way we can plan more,
Right.
plan ahead. And we'll have some of those questions answered for us as well. So with no further ado, we're going to go on to item 2D, announcements from Building and Code.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
For the month of April, we received almost 250 phone calls from the public to call in their concerns for weedy lots. We have had a lot of rain. We had about 150 weedy lot complaints. And we are just midway through May and we have 260 weedy lot complaints so far. So we implore the public, I know it's hard to keep up with, but we ask that they maintain their yards. We don't want to have any of our contractors go out there, especially for the vacant lots, for people that don't live here. If they have relatives that live here, that can call them and let them know, hey, the grass is a little high, especially on the main streets like Cage and Jackson, Veterans, where it's heavily seen by the public. We just want to take care of everyone and just to ensure that there's no outbreak of more mosquitoes or rodents that are hiding in the tall grass or anything like that. Any tires that are left out, we're asking that they be disposed of. That way the rain, it doesn't stay there and cause more breeding of mosquitoes. We also ask the public that if there's any trash that they need to take care of, to call our office. That way we can inform them of when they're having maybe a trash bash or somewhere or other places, other options they may have to dump their trash instead of just dumping it in vacant lots or any other areas that they see.
May I ask you, I know we're seeing, and I'm sure this is citywide, Waste Management is doing its best to come around and pick up the limbs
Yes.
from the side. I know they usually are working on a schedule.
Mhm.
Do you know if that schedule is still the same schedule, or is it enhanced due to?
It's been enhanced because
Okay.
of the heavy rains that we've been encountering. And unfortunately, our property maintenance program has been set back twice already because of the rain. And we do apologize to the citizens that we're out there to help, but it's just the rain has been pretty fierce these past 2 months.
The rain and the wind.
Yes.
The wind. Okay. Any other questions for?
I don't know if all this weather has postponed some of those big events that you have, but those, where you have those community events where people can recycle. Do you know when that next one's gonna be?
I think Mr. Money
Oh,
will.
Yes,
wrong
that's,
person. Sorry.
that's okay. We do continue to have our block parties. We do
Block
have
parties.
them once a month. And again, we do have our property assistance program that is geared more towards the elderly, disabled, and veterans. So if anybody out there, they can call our office to apply for that.
Do you ever have flyers letting people know of the programs and services that Pharr has, that get mailed out? Is that like in the water bills, or is that like a separate mailer?
We are in talks with incorporating that with the water bill, but we just haven't produced that yet.
Okay.
But with like our block parties, we do put it on social media. We also pass out flyers to the surrounding areas where we're going to be having it. For example, we have it at a park. If there's a school next door, we'll go to the school and have them hand it out to the students. Or if it's closer to a neighborhood, we'll go the 3 streets this way, 3 streets this way, and just get all the residences that are there, letting them know that we're going to have that party.
Okay. I've never seen a notice in my block, maybe. We're not close enough, but okay, block party. And that schedule, can you find, like, if somebody wanted to go look for when the block parties are, do you have it online somewhere that people can look?
Online, no, but we do have a calendar that we produce every 3 months showing what we're going to have for each month. If you like, you can call the office and we can provide that for you.
So there's no place on the city webpage that you can go to.
Not currently.
Is that something that we could look into? Because I'm one of those people that I go, if I miss it on social media, because there's so much that comes through, and I want to look for something, I go to the city pages,
Mhm,
or I go, I look. So I know to go to Parks and Rec.
mhm.
But is that something that can be put online for people to find if they just can't make it into the offices, or if they just tend to be like me and just do everything online?
Yes, we can talk to media to put that on the website. That way the public can see it through there.
I would love to see
On
that.
the 311 calendar part, or, because I know I've seen